Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the DHP 200 at the Darlington Raceway. First race of the night, another doubleheader of action again this week on the channel for NASCAR 05. But this time it is going to be for the Busch Series. It will be races number 4 and 5 on the season for the Busch Series tonight. Again, Darlington being this first race, and then we will be running at Bristol in about an hour and a half from now. 200 miles, 147 laps to decide the winner of this one. We will be starting from last place, no practice or qualifying, coming into what is possibly one of the most difficult racetracks to navigate, not only in this game, but in NASCAR in general. We're going to be riding here with Kevin Harvick as we have up to this point this season. Kyle Busch comes in with the early championship season lead by 21 points over Bobby Hamilton Jr., with Harvick sitting in third. Kevin Harvick does come in off a win in each of the last two races. We'll see if he can end up getting it done here today. He got the sweep at Las Vegas, in fact, with the Busch and the Cup race wins last weekend. So we'll see what he can do here again, coming off a win at Rockingham and Las Vegas into this one after a rough and tough 28th place finish to start the season at Daytona. We are about to go live with this race right here on KRC. I'm Keegan Schneider, as always, bringing you the action. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast every day, as well as other related NASCAR content. So we are about to get started. I accidentally went to this screen because I hit start race before I wanted to, so I paused it before the drop of before the actual green flag waved. But it is going to go green as soon as I press resume. So here we go, 200 miles of racing at the toughest track, or the track too tough to tame, I should say, the Lady in Black, Darlington Raceway. Green flag in the air. 43 cars take the field for this NASCAR Busch Series race. Harvick getting loose, kind of spinning the tires on the initial start, trying to get to the inside of J.J. Yaley. He does make a pretty quick start. Got to keep it off the apron very, very tight. It's a treacherous racetrack with these EA games, especially on the initial start. Harvick is just full on sending it right now. A very, very risky way of going about it here for Kevin Harvick without any practice or qualifying, but he's making some clean passes trying to cut up through this field. Setting himself in line behind Casey Atwood. Jonathan Rogers, welcome to the stream. R6, welcome to the stream as well. Contact off turn 2 with Ashton Lewis in the 138 car to his outside. Harvick to the inside of Casey Atwood now. Harvick trying to go for 3 wins in a row in the early going of this season. More contact in the middle of the pack. Somebody drops down with a blown engine to the inside into turn 1 as they go too wide. All the way into turn 1 again. Practice or qualifying, I'm surprised Harvick is making not only clean passes, but is moving through the field as quickly as he is right now. What an unbelievable start for Harvick. 3 wide off the exit of turn 4. Oh, a little bit of contact for the first time. That was with the 25 car, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and all the way to the top 20 on only lap 4 for Kevin Harvick. Not wasting any time at all. It is amazing how fast he's moving through this field. Slides the tires a little bit, getting down into turn number 3 underneath Kenny Wallace, who is the Daytona winner. A little slide job by Harvick, clearing Wallace off the exit of turn number 4. Harvick slides the tires a little bit into 1 and 2. I don't think Harvick could have made it through that many cars in this few of laps at this tough of a racetrack any cleaner than what he did right there. Justin Sozio, welcome to the stream. Talladega from 11 months ago. Nice. That probably would have been NASCAR Heat 4 if it was that long ago. That was like a little less than a month into the channel. So that's definitely one of the older ones. Harvick on the brakes in time there off turn 2. You can tell Harvick's car is loose. Loose is fast if he can hang on to it, and you can tell already early on it is fast. It's a very tough track to pass on, but Harvick has made his way through over half the field already. And again, without practice or qualifying, which is even more impressive. But this is only a 200-mile race. 147 laps at Darlington will not last long. While Harvick continues to make passes now to the inside of teammate Ron Hornaday. Oh, got cut off there by Mark Martin in the center of the corner as well. Harvick was moving in so quick, I don't think Martin realized where he was. And now here's points leader Kyle Busch just inside the top 10. Harvick 3 wide to the inside off turn 2. Contact between Busch and the 119 car to the outside. They're still 3 wide into 3. Harvick not going to give any leeway. Sends it into the corner, slides up in front of Busch as Busch slides up in front of the 119 simultaneously. And Harvick in 8 laps is up to 9th. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Sliding the tires a little bit too much there. Getting on the brakes maybe a little too hard at times. The 106 car currently in the lead. Harvick slides up the track into turn 1. Trying to keep it off the 116 to his outside. Clears the 83 off turn 2 as well. 2-for-1 special for Harvick in turns 1 and 2. Can he get a 3rd win in a row? Trivia is back tonight, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. We'll wait a little bit later to give you guys that first trivia question. I have a question for not one, but both of these races as well. I did my research today. I was off of work. I took about 10 to 15 minutes to try to do some deep diving on Racing Reference and get a couple questions dug out for us here tonight. So stay tuned for that one. Again, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Ooh, Harvick got a little too tight into turn 3. Now he's on the outside. Cook tries to get back down to his inside. Harvick actually got a good run off turn 4 to stay in front of him. It is amazing how quickly Harvick has ripped through this field. Race leader not pulling away. We have seen that on these intermediate tracks, it seems like, at least. Las Vegas, nobody was able to pull away in that one. Nobody was able to really pull away even at Rockingham, which was barely over 1 mile in length for a racetrack. We had an epic finish to the end of that Busch Series race. Harvick to the inside of his current spotter in the Cup Series, Tim Fedewa. Going to make another pass maybe into turn 1 underneath the 137, and the 137 tried to go up the middle, a little contact. Sean Batson tried to squeeze into a hole that wasn't there. Harvick was trying to give him the room, but he just got a little too loose. Very minor contact, luckily. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. Yeah, most of the tracks on the circuit in this point of NASCAR, they do have a lot of bumps. Daytona and Talladega. Darlington being one of those having an older surface. Martinsville's got an older surface at this point. Bristol, I believe, has an older surface. I'm trying to think of tracks that maybe don't. A lot of the 1.5 miles in the early to mid 2000s weren't really older surfaces. We just raced at Las Vegas. That wasn't an old surface. Only had about 5 years on it. One race a year at that point, at least with the Cup Series. Harvick, meanwhile, up to 3rd. A little loose off turn 4, just driving right out of it. A lot of these fantasy drivers up towards the front of the field early on in this one. Can we see an upset for the first time this year? I guess Kenny Wallace winning the season opener at Daytona was a bit of an upset, but wasn't one of the fantasy drivers necessarily, nor a rookie. A great run for Wallace. Look at how loose Harvick is into 1. Locking the brakes down. Still makes the pass for 2nd, and he's all over the back bumper of the race leader. Off turn 2 to the inside of the 123. Harvick clear into turn 3, and in just 16 laps, he goes from last to 1st. What a start here at Darlington in race 1 of the doubleheader for Kevin Harvick. 5 bonus points along the way. He comes in 3rd in the standings, 24 behind points leader Kyle Busch, and only 3 behind 2nd place in points, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Again, despite winning the last 2 races, Harvick is not the points leader He moved ahead of a couple guys that didn't even start in the last race. A couple of the Cup regulars didn't. Dale Jr. being one of those drivers. After Jr. actually ran in each of the first 2 races, scoring 2 top 5s to start the season. And I did not see him in the field here tonight either. At least for this race. Again, we'll be running at Bristol for a day race, on the game at least, after this one. So that will be on a different stream, by the way. And that stream will start at about 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Thursday night action on the channel. Again, one of the shortest races of the season. There are not a lot of 200-mile races on intermediates, especially. This one being one of those. About 1.33 miles in length is Darlington Raceway. Races just like a short track with how narrow it is. It's bumpy. Very, very driver-skilled track, to say the least. But Kevin Harvick is out to an early lead, and already to about a 0.6 to 0.7 of a second lead after just 4 laps of having the race lead. Yes, Harvick trying to go for 3 wins in a row. Harvick at this point in time would have already been a Busch Series champion, winning his Busch Series championship in the year 2001. Just 3 years prior to when this season actually takes place. Or took place, I should say. Yeah, Daytona Road Course wouldn't have an older surface, at least on the oval again, with it being that older Daytona then. And yeah, a lot of the road courses, you're right, do have an older surface. Harvick's car, although it is fast, again, it's a little on the loose side. Not as bad, though, since he's gotten to the race lead. She's trying to pull away from him. He has not had an easy victory of the first 2 he's had this season. Again, it has been rough to try and hold on to win these last 2 races. Of course, at Las Vegas, he won. That came down to a late race restart after a caution with less than 10 laps to go. Great job holding on to win that one. And then also at Rockingham, although we didn't have a late race restart in that one, it came down to an epic finish. They were 3 wide for the lead on the final lap going into turn 3. Harvick was in the middle nonetheless and literally just beat and banged his way through to getting that win and holding on to the likes of Matt Kenseth and Jeff Burton running right around him. Dale Jr. was in the mix there late, so was Ron Hornaday. Not going to lie, the original approach was going to be to take it easy. And we gained like 5 spots on the first lap of the race because we had a good jump. And I'm like, all right, let's just see how much we can get out of this, and tried to pass these guys as steadily and as cleanly as we could. And I think we made contact with maybe 2 cars very lightly all the way through the field. That was about as impressive as it gets on this racetrack, in particular for Harvick to go from the back to the front like he did, and now almost a 2-second lead already. We saw in the Modified Series doubleheader last night, we got the win in both races. Granted, we do doubleheaders all the time with the Modified Series because of how short the races are, but we don't do them as much anymore in the Outside Series. We did have one on Monday night in the Truck Series, where we won the first race of the doubleheader at Red Ball Raceway, and then the second race we finished in second at Lowe's Motor Speedway. It's going to be the last doubleheader for the foreseen future on the channel, outside of the Modified Series again, which those races take place on Wednesday nights. R6, welcome back to the stream. Saw you were in the chat before we got started. Saw you watched the Race of the Week video already as well. Saw you in the comment section there. Again, if you haven't checked that out yet, Race of the Week video is out from last week's Cup Series race at Las Vegas. And a wild one there, especially at the finish. just out to over a 2-second lead. I have to see how many pit stops are going to be made today. Excuse me. There is a tire limit for the Busch and the Truck Series for fresh sets of tires, so not including the tires on the car at the start of the race, but they can pit for tires 4 times. It's really going to be dependent on if we get cautions. That was another thing, too, Harvick was kind of nervous about, and it's a good thing he got to the front as quickly as he did, as if we do get any cautions, he's not going to get caught up in an accident running mid-pack. He's got a while until lap traffic comes into play, so smooth sailing for Kevin Harvick early, but still well over 100 laps to go. This is not the oldest track necessarily surface-wise at this point in time. I'm not entirely sure when it was last repaved. I know it's been repaved between now and this race. It was a really, really old surface at this time. I think it was repaved right in the early 2010s, the late 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. The oldest track on the Cup Series circuit is actually Martinsville. That has been the only track that was on NASCAR's original schedule back in 1949 in the inaugural season. Darlington is close, though. It has been around since the early 50s, but not quite as old as Martinsville, at least again with the Cup Series schedule as far as that goes. But Darlington is, I believe, the second oldest. Their first race being in 1951. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. So, I guess, I don't know if I've really mentioned this on the channel before. I mentioned that I have cheat days, and those are the only days I eat sweets. I only have 3 cheat days a year where I eat some sort of sweets or intake a lot of sugar. The only other sugar I guess I would have is an occasional Gatorade. Usually I only drink water. And then your natural sugars that are in like bread and stuff like that. You know, I'm not like picky when it comes to that kind of stuff, but because your body does need some sort of like intake of sugars. But yeah, as far as sweets go, I don't eat sweets. Not that I don't like them, I just took them out of my diet. When I was a younger kid, I'm not gonna lie, I was on the chubbier side. So you know, that put into play. I kind of for racing because I raced when I was younger, quarter midgets in the go-karts and stuff, so I was always, you know, into it with at least eating right, you know, although I didn't lift necessarily as much and probably should lift more now. I got into it a little bit when I graduated, but when COVID hit, I haven't gone to the gym since. But as far as like dieting, I usually eat pretty well, and I want to say about 3.5 years now I've been on this like no sweets diet. Honestly, after a couple weeks, it's fine. You know, I was somebody that ate sweets pretty regularly. Like, not every day, but, you know, at least a couple times a week, I'd, like, snack on something, you know, whether it was, like, cookies or, you know, something. You know, if there was, like, Little Debbie's in the drawer, you know, in the cabinet, in the cabinet door, that were my mom's or dad's, like, I would snack on those from time to time. Like, anything that was in the house. I would go to my grandparents, and I would have ice cream every single time I went over there. But anyway, I stopped doing that. So, yeah, soda too. Soda or pop, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I don't intake any of that either anymore. I used to drink a lot of it. I used to drink a lot of root beer when I was younger. But yeah, 3.5 to 4 years ago now. I think it would have been 3 years exactly this last Christmas. So a little less than 3.5 years I've been on this diet, and the only days I eat sweets now are my birthday, Thanksgiving, and Christmas Day. The only days I intake any sort of sweets, and I usually go all in and intake a lot. So I do like Reese's. I haven't had Reese's in a very long time. It's been a while since I've had a candy bar for sure. Because even on my cheat days, I usually have like birthday cake, you know, or something like that, like a pie or ice cream, you know, something of that nature. Like Thanksgiving, I always have pumpkin cheesecake. My mom makes an awesome pumpkin cheesecake, so I always try to get at least a few slices of that. Ashton G, welcome to the stream as well. Yeah, Talladega and Daytona have been on the schedule a while. Daytona 1959, Dega 69. Richmond's been on the schedule for a long time too. Atlanta was one of the first mile and a halves, if I'm not mistaken. That and Charlotte were like the two major mile and a halves NASCAR went to for a long time. Cap24, welcome to the stream. Just over a 3-second lead now for Harvick on lap 40 already. I never was a big fan of Skittles, honestly. Like those fruity, you know, I'm not like fruit snacks even. I don't know why. Like I love fruits, but like the gummies and stuff like that, I never got into it. So like Skittles, I didn't really care for. I was more of like an M&M's guy. Yeah, chocolate. Like chocolate was a big, like anything chocolate, candy bar related. That was pretty much what I was eating candy-wise. And then when it came to ice cream, chocolate when I was younger, and I was getting older, vanilla. And even on my cheat days now, it's usually vanilla. Vanilla with chocolate syrup would be my ice cream. Actually, speaking of Reese's, with that being on the hood of the race car, well, actually all over the race car, for our Busch Series season, driving as Kevin Harvick. I bought a pint of ice cream this year so I could have for Christmas. So Christmas Eve I had to work. I had to work a half day. I got off. I went to Walmart downtown from where I worked. So drove about 5-10 minutes. Went to Walmart. Went to the frozen area. Went to where all the goodies are, all the ice creams and stuff. And Breyers was like always the ice cream I ate at my grandparents. So I've always kind of liked Breyers, the vanilla at least. And they had a Reese's. I was going to just go get vanilla from there, you know, and I was like, okay, it's been a while since I've had just plain vanilla ice cream, Breyers. You know, it's my cheat day tomorrow. I bought a pint of Reese's. They had Reese's flavored, and it basically had, like, the Reese's cups in it, like the Reese's peanut butter cups. That was really good. I ate that whole pint on Christmas Day. I ate, like, half of it in the morning for my quote-unquote breakfast. And then, like, right before I went to bed, I ate the other half. So, that was my cheat day, was eating a pint of ice cream. So, I could put it away. Trust me, when it hits my cheat day, I have 3 days a year to do it, I go all in. And people ask me, you don't get, like, sick or, like, some sort of, like, high sugar intake with doing that? For 3 years, I guess only 9 days now that I've, you know, really done it in the last 3 years. But no, I haven't had an issue with it. I ate a whole pumpkin cheesecake on Thanksgiving once, too. Like, a whole... Like, my mom made 2 of them, I ate 1, like, by myself, in one sitting. So, I ate a lot this year, too. Not as much as I did the year before, but, as far as the pumpkin cheesecake on Thanksgiving, so. Yeah, that's kind of my spiel as far as, you know, what my diet intake goes with sugar. But, between that and hitting a growth spurt my freshman year of high school, pretty much I burned a lot of fat off, and playing basketball. Burned a lot of fat off, and during this COVID pandemic break where I haven't gone to the gym, I've gained a little bit of belly fat, not gonna lie. That's why I definitely need to get back in. I always had like a flatter stomach. I wasn't like a, you know, 6-pack or something, but that's my goal, honestly, by the end of summer, is to have something like that and try to put on another 10 to 15 pounds muscle weight wise. Is kind of my goal by the end of summer, about August to September. Harvick really loose down the backstretch and into turn 3. Sliding all over the track as these tires get older and older. Get closer to the wall. I don't feel comfortable doing that with this game. The car's a little on the loose side. I'll have to tighten it up a little bit under the first stop as well. Be interesting if this is a one-stop race today. If these guys can go 100 miles on fuel, maybe really close. Ideally, if they can make it to about lap 72 or 73, that would make it a one-stop race. Yeah, trivia will be well, we're already lap 50 coming up here pretty soon, so we'll get trivia in at some point during the course of both of these races tonight. Again, we will be running Bristol after this one concludes. Harvick quickly got out to a 3-second lead by about lap 30. Over the last 20 laps, he's only gained another half a second. As these tires wear out, his lap times continue to drop. See all 4 tires in the yellow, and a very clean race car for Harvick so far. Yeah, if you're talking about the Cup Series, I know Harvick's won a lot there. Actually, he's only got 3 wins there. I think the first one he had was 01. He didn't have another one until just a couple of years ago. I think 2018 was the first time he went back to victory lane there since 01. And then he won last year. I think he's only got 3 wins there, so I'm not going to say Harvick. I know Dale Sr. won a lot there. Bobby Labonte won a couple races there too. Gordon's won a handful of races. Man, track's been around for a while. I think I'm going to go Dale Earnhardt Sr. as my answer and lock it in as him being the most winningest driver at Atlanta. I could be wrong on that. I don't know that question. It's a good question. If you're talking Cup Series and all-time wins at that racetrack, I'm going to say Dale Sr. Ethan, welcome to the stream. I know you love this racetrack. Every time we race here in any game, get excited to come in and watch. Got the Cup Series racing here, not this weekend, but the following weekend on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Yeah, Johnson has a few there too, but I don't think he's got as many as Dale Sr. Jonathan, do you actually know the answer to the question, or are you asking us just for the sake of it and then looking it up? I got it? Alright. That was a good guess, because it was an educated guess. I know he got a win there late in his career. In 2000. But I thought I'd heard of him or remembered him winning quite a few times there in the 90s. A lot of it would have been during that older configuration, of course. The configuration they have now has only been in place since 1998. Lap 55 for Harvick, still nowhere close to lap traffic, and actually second place is closing in on Harvick. It's closing in about 2 to 3 tenths of a second over the last couple laps. As Harvick's lap times continue to drop. So he's got a very, very fast short run car, and even into the long run, again, 50 laps into the run, he still has one of the faster cars on track. Not so much so over the last 5 laps. Seems to be a little better in 1 and 2 than 3 and 4 speed-wise as well. Just trying to make it to lap 72 or 73 to make this a one pit stop race today. Again, it will be close, and it's also going to depend, will we stay green still? We have not had a caution-free race in either one of the 3 series up to this point. I guess now would be a good time to get the first trivia question of the night out, as we're just prior to the halfway mark. Again, first of 2, because we will be running a second race tonight at Bristol for the Busch Series. Grand Champions for you, welcome to the stream. So trivia question for tonight, it is a Busch Series. Well, I guess it used to be Busch Series. As we know now, the Xfinity Series is the title sponsor for the second tier series for NASCAR. So the question is, who is the only driver and crew chief combination to win a championship in both the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the NASCAR Cup Series? Again, this is only one driver and crew chief that was able to do it. So who is the only driver and crew chief combination to win both a NASCAR Xfinity Series title and a NASCAR Cup Series title? There's only one answer. And I did fact check myself just to make sure it was right. I didn't know they were the only ones, but I knew of it happening. Harvick continues to slide the tires there through 3 and 4. I'll give you guys the answer to that question at lap 65. That lead got brought down to 2.7 seconds, and some of the leaders, about a dozen of them or so, on pit road, maybe even more than that, coming onto pit road right now at lap 60. So with them pitting right now, I do not see those guys pitting now making it to the end of this race on just this one stop. Harvick's going to try to go as far as he can, but with only a 2.7 second lead at the time of them pitting, he might not have the lead when they cycle through the pit stops. It's going to be really close. He's very low on fuel, but he can go at least, I don't know if he can make it to lap 70. It'll be close. Lap 72, 73, I really don't know. Michael Turner, yes, you did get that question correct. I guess I'll say the answer now because I see that you answered it correctly. Yes, Brad Keselowski and Paul Wolfe are the only driver-crew chief combination to win both a NASCAR Xfinity Series and a NASCAR Cup Series race. Cup Series championship. That is the answer to the question. Hopefully you didn't Google that. I'm assuming you didn't. Ooh, looks like a little smoke in turns 1 and 2. There might have been a near accident, and our Kevin Harvick just earned his first Darlington stripe of the night, getting into turns 3 and 4 as he washes up into the wall for the first time. Huge slide off the exit of turn 4 as well. He's just trying to make it as long as he can. 86 to his outside. Risky trying to pass on the high side, even if you do have fresher tires. Harvick actually hung on in front of him, got a good drive off the exit of turn 2. You can really see Harvick's car is extremely out of shape this far into the run. It's helping him lead as many laps as possible as well. Yeah, I was very surprised that they were the only driver-crew chief combination ever. There's actually very few drivers that have won a Cup Series title that won a Busch Series championship. I mean, very, very few. There was a lot fewer than what I actually thought. A lot of them were actually in the 2000s. Keselowski won that title in 2010. Kyle Busch won a championship in 2009. He's obviously a Cup champion. Harvick has won 2 titles in 2001, 2006. Martin Truex Jr. won back-to-back titles in 2004 and 2005. Those guys are all champions in the Cup Series. Bobby Labonte won one in the 90s as well. The early 90s, and won a championship in the Cup Series. Lap 66 at the line for Harvick. He will be coming to pit road this time, so it will be a 2 pit stop race today. Might see some guys split this final run in half. I believe Labonte's going to be the final driver to hit. Or sorry, not Labonte, I was just talking about him. Kevin Harvick is going to be the final driver to hit pit road for his first green flag stop of the day. Very tough pit road to get onto. He's taking his time. Doesn't want to risk anything. And great job. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel coming. Harvick will put a half a round of wedge in the race car, or his team will at least, so that is the only adjustment on pit road this time. Dale Earnhardt, most winningest at Atlanta and Talladega. Yeah, he's got, 10 career wins at Talladega? It's insane. Dale Jr. won a lot there, too. I think he won, 7? 7 races at Talladega Jr. won in his career. I think he's second. Sterling Marlin won a lot of races there in the 90s. Really, that whole Morgan McClure team did. They were awesome in the 90s on the super speedways. Marlin and then even Ernie Irvan, before Marlin took over the 4-car, won on the super speedways quite a bit. Well, remember those drivers that short pitted. Harvick comes off of pit road, and Tim Fedewa going to take the lead going off into turn 3. Harvick was really loose on cold tires, trying to get back up onto the racetrack. Bobby Hamilton Jr. has jumped up to 3rd place after qualifying outside the top 20, and Fedewa will get 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Oh, I forgot to say Chase Elliott also, another one of those drivers that won a Xfinity title and a Cup title. I was just naming the guys that won it in the 2000s. I think Elliott is the most recent to win an Xfinity title and a Cup title. So after Fido leads for one lap, Harvick got him going into turn 3 for the lead that last lap. Again, Kevin had a 2.7 second lead before the pit stop started, but Fido must have been one of the first drivers to come to pit road, because those guys started pitting about, I'd say roughly 6 laps before Harvick pit, 7 laps before Kevin Harvick hit pit road. It's a huge advantage on this old of a surface. Harvick did tighten his race car up a little bit, more so for the long run, because he was a little on the loose side. Hopefully he doesn't get too tight late in the run. We saw him get into the wall on 3 and 4 slightly once at the end of the last run. He hasn't gotten that Darlington stripe down in turns 1 and 2 yet, so that's pretty impressive. We had a lot of bad luck at Darlington in NASCAR Thunder 04. We actually won one race here between the 2 seasons and the 4 races we had at the track, but we did not have a lot of good luck outside of that one win. We had to scratch and claw our way to do it. And we are almost halfway, just 2 laps from the halfway mark today. All right, slid the tires a little bit, getting into turn 1. Boy, Fido trying to hang on to second. A lot of pressure behind him with Bobby Hamilton Jr. Yeah, I mean, even though it's just a video game, but you can run well on these bumpier tracks. It's older surfaces. It only makes the tracks with the fresher surface a lot easier, skill-wise. You would think, at least. Fido will still hold on to second, and just shows how hard it is to pass unless your driver's name is Kevin Harvick. He's made it look easy today after starting last. What a win it would be for Harvick to get 3 in a row this early in the season. Second, third, and fourth races of the year. You look at our truck series, and we've only won once with Edwards in the first 6. So clicking off 3 out of 4 to start the year for Harvick would be impressive. And he's got another one today on a short track at Bristol. Will be the next race on the schedule, and that again is coming up tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Will be the start time for that race. I will practice and qualify before that one in between this race. But I did not practice or qualify tonight, which also makes this run even more impressive. Just kind of guessing on the setup with, how I ran in Thunder 04. Had it a lot similar to that. Even though this is the Busch series and not the Cup series, I pretty much had about the same custom setup. It doesn't seem like Harvick's car is as fast as what it was in the first run. He's still pulling away from those guys, but I think Bobby Hamilton Jr. is a little faster than Fido right now, and he just can't get around him. Harvick's out to about an 1/8 of a second lead. We'll see if he can bring that up to about 3.5 seconds, which is where it was at one point during that first tire run. And still no cautions today as we're just past halfway. Spin and win. No thanks. I don't feel like taking a spin here tonight. I'm perfectly fine with just leading as is. I mean, it's just an impressive drive. I don't care what video game it is, but running at Darlington in a full race, even if it is only 200 miles with this being a Busch Series race, Harvick's only hit the wall once and we're past halfway. And it was in turns 3 and 4 on old tires, just over 60 laps into the run before he hit pit road, a couple laps before he hit pit road. And that's it. He's had a clean race outside of that. And that's even charging through the field like he did. He only made contact with 2 drivers this whole race. Very minimal as well when he was trying to claw his way to the front. Still no lap traffic either. I'm very surprised about that because the field got spaced apart pretty easily. But those drivers that are last on the lead lap right now not really being rained down a whole lot by Harvick. That's how competitive this field is in this game. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in this race as we're just past halfway as mentioned. It'll be a 300 lap race at Bristol tonight. Again, that will be the second race of our doubleheader for the Busch Series. We will take a look at the point standings after the conclusion of both races. Very early in the season, though, so you're not going to see things very spaced apart. Kind of like how they are in the Truck Series, where the top 6 or 7 are pretty clustered together right now. Until we get a couple more races into the season, it's going to continue to be that route. Harvick's car does seem to have a lot more grip after tightening up. It's just not quite as fast. But again, these guys do have to pit one more time. Harvick was the last driver to hit pit road. That's why he cycled out in second and lost the lead for just a lap to Fedewa. By the way, Fedewa still in second ahead of Bobby Hamilton Jr. And again, Hamilton charging from middle of the pack on the initial start tonight. Yeah, I don't plan on going to Darlington this year, mainly because I did go there just last season, and there are a lot of new tracks I want to get to this year. The only tracks I'm going to that I was at last year was Talladega and Bristol, and the reason why I'm going back to Bristol is for the night race later in the season in September, because I was there for the All-Star race. It wasn't a points race, so I wasn't going to click Bristol off the checklist of tracks I've been to yet. I technically can, but I haven't seen a points race there, so I'm not going to count it because that race only took an hour and a half at most. So between the Open and the actual All-Star race itself, it was done in like 2.5 hours, and there was a long break in between. So it definitely wasn't an actual like race. Didn't count towards points either. So I will be back there for Bristol, and then Talladega, just because I had that much fun in the fall last year. I'm going back for the spring race in about 6 weeks, I believe, from this weekend already. Crazy. Straight down the front stretch. Some of these drivers have just short pitted. After green flag stops were about 20 to 25 laps ago. Now we're seeing some guys short pit. There was Casey Atwood who just came off pit road, as well as a handful of others. So that window to make it to the end of this race from now is open. And I'm curious to see if anybody in the top 10 end up pitting to try and cycle themselves out in front of Harvick. That might be their saving grace and their last chance to get around him. But Harvick's going to stay out for a while. This is a very long pit road at this racetrack. And less than 1.5 miles in length. You will definitely lose a lap by short pitting, so it's a risk, to say the least. But yeah, not sure where Kyle Busch is running right now. Last we saw, he was in 9th when Harvick was charging through the field. And even if I pause it, there's no way to check, like in NASCAR Thunder 04, what the current running order is, so we just kind of got to guesstimate. We do know the second and third place drivers are Tim Fedewa and Bobby Hamilton Jr. They've been battling pretty much ever since Harvick took away the lead from Fedewa a lap after the green flag stops cycled through. I think they'll race at Watkins Glen for sure. It's later in the year, and I actually think there will be some fans at Watkins Glen. Sonoma's more hit or miss, but I'm still kind of hopeful for that one because it's not till June. And it's not in the Los Angeles area. Northern California versus, most of the spiking of the COVID cases are in the Los Angeles area and the inner city areas. Sonoma kind of in the valley. Not near a major city in California, so I'd bank on there being races for both of those races. Maybe not as big of crowds, capacity-wise because of COVID and the constrictions they're going to have versus some of these other tracks like the Florida races had 20 to 30% capacity. I know for the Coke 600 at Charlotte, what were they talking about, 30% capacity? If I remember that right, which is about 25,000, because I think that place sits 89,000 if I'm not mistaken, so that'd be pretty good. I don't know what Talladega's doing next month. I haven't heard about it. I know I already got my tickets, so I know for a fact I'm going. I just don't know how many fans are going to be there. Probably same as last year, about 20,000 like there was last year, if I had to guess. Slap car Billy Parker's really holding up Harvick, and Harvick's in that dirty air behind him. He's getting a little bit tighter in the center of these corners. Coca-Cola Racing Family. I forgot about those commercials back in the day. I say that like it was a long, long time ago, but I forgot about those. They had like a couple of them throughout the course of like one season. I don't remember what year that was. I think Newman was in the 31 at the time. So it was a little while ago. Harvick's trying to gain. The good news is Parker's got fresher tires. That's also making it harder for Harvick to get around him as well. Yeah, but the thing with Auto Club is the race was supposed to be in February. Sonoma's in June. That's a huge difference of why they would have moved the California race date to, or the Auto Club race date to the Daytona Road Course. Much, much earlier in the schedule and on the even the calendar year of 2021 with COVID going on versus what Sonoma is. So I have higher hopes for Sonoma for sure. Auto Club, we were kind of expecting that early in the season just because of COVID was still going on pretty heavily at the time, even leading up to it in the state of California. And with the way the restrictions are as well. I haven't been there or lived there at all my life, even before or since COVID, so we'll be able to tell you how their, government officiating of it is exactly, but they seem to be one of the more stricter states. Yeah, I saw that with Texas. No mask mandate. I guess Ohio's talking about no mask mandate too. Harvick tried to make a pass on Parker off turn 2. He got to his inside and got just a little too wobbly and couldn't hold his line. Parker in the 88 trying to block Harvick. He's already a lap down after pitting. He doesn't want to go 2 laps down, though, in case there's a yellow. And Harvick is getting held up massively right now. Kevin absolutely just cannot get around him. Gets a run off turn 4 on the inside of Parker. 50 laps to go this time by. Harvick hard into one, slides the tires a little bit, keeps it off of Parker. Can he clear him? Yes, he does, in the center of 1 and 2. Finally puts Parker another lap down. Yeah, Texas isn't even running until the All-Star race in, July? Or is it late June? Somewhere around there. I think it's in July again. No, it's in June. Never mind. Yeah, it's in June. I just second-guessed myself there. But even still, yeah. Might be able to see over 50. I know they opened it up to 50% capacity at the end of last season when they raced at Texas. Obviously, it rained 3 days, so they obviously didn't have anywhere close to that, amount of a crowd on a Wednesday, but you never know. Could see full capacity for the All-Star race or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Ooh, Harvick tight in 3 and 4. Kept it off the wall again. But he definitely checked up quite a bit. He got closer behind those lap cars ahead of him. 4 of them. right in front of Harvick. Harvick's halfway out of fuel. Caution for the first time today at lap 100. Caution will wave. I was wondering if we were going to see one today. And a spin for the 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Oh, man, a couple other cars piled in off of turn 4. Was the site of the accident. 20 backs it into the wall and then backs it down the racetrack into the 109, the 137 involved as well. And we get our first caution of the day, and that's going to trap a lot of guys a lap down that short pitted as soon as that window opened. Harvick going to loosen this car back up again, right back to where it was at the start of the race. 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel coming for the 21 team of Harvick, and who will win the race off pit road here? We'll restart with less than 45 laps to go. Yeah, NASCAR can set their gathering restrictions without the government, but they need government officials to say otherwise when the time actually comes, you know. Or I should say, they can set it to like 50%, but if the government shoots it down, then they have to, you know, backtrack from there, essentially, is what they have to do. So a couple cars are going to beat Kevin Harvick off pit road, including Bobby Hamilton Jr. Tim Fedewa looks like he'll restart in the lead. Kyle Busch, the points leader here early in the season, is trapped a lap down. He was one of the cars that pitted early. And Harvick restarts in 4th. Green flag in the air as they kind of stacked up in front of him. So double file restart at least at the front of the field with all the lap cars. And here we go. Late race restart after the first caution. 3 wide off the exit of turn 2. Harvick to the inside of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Using the lap cars to pick Harvick to 3rd. And here's David Stremme, who had a great run at Vegas last week, is in 2nd place after the cycling of stops. Oh, contact between Kyle Busch and Stremme off of turn 4. Busch is trying to get back on the lead lap, but he's stuck on the outside. Harvick gets around following Stremme, and Harvick is hard charging for the lead off turn 2 after clearing Stremme to the inside of his current spotter, Tim Fedewa. And into turn 3, Kevin Harvick with a low slide up the racetrack into the corner. Beautiful slide job by Harvick. Blocks Fedewa off the exit of turn 4. Stremme trying to look to get back around Fedewa as well, maybe looking to the outside into turn 1. Kevin Harvick back out in front again at Darlington with 42 to go. Now can he hang on? Yeah, Coda. That could be a big positive. With that being a larger track, well, that road course is like over 3 miles in length, isn't it? That being a longer road course, I feel like they can actually get more fans in there because of how spaced out they can make them. All the different seating sections there are in different corners around the racetrack, too. I think Coda can have a really, really big attendance, maybe even bigger than Texas Motor Speedway as far as like restrictions go. If there are restrictions at all. 40 laps to go at the line. Fedewa trying to stay with Harvick, but we saw he wasn't really the second fastest car during that second tire stint. Nobody else will have to pit the rest of this race. Those were the final stops under that caution. And a tough break for those who short pitted, but we mentioned the risk of short pitting at Darlington. Kyle Busch and others knew the risk. It just didn't pan out for him. Harvick's kind of driving it in a little too deep on corner entry here, trying to get away from Fedewa. David Stremme has been putting a lot of pressure on Fedewa since the restart, though. Almost slid up into the wall off turn 2 as well. Great run for Stremme tonight. He didn't get the finish he deserved at Las Vegas after leading quite a few laps early in that race. Trying to back it up with maybe a good finished today pretty much out of nowhere. Didn't even realize he was in the top 5 until after those pit stops when he restarted in second. Well, Harvick has been the man to beat here today in race 1 of our doubleheader at Darlington in the NASCAR Busch Series. Again, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time here tonight. We'll be running at Bristol for the NASCAR Busch Series on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Like, share, and subscribe again for more daily NASCAR content. We are very close to 800 subs, boys. We just got a couple more during the course of the day. I'm telling you, I think we can get to 800 by the end of Sunday's stream. By the end of Sunday's stream, I think we can get there. We're gaining about 3 to 4 every day the last few days. We're on pace. Need 14 more, and you figure we're going to have 2 streams on Sunday. We're going to have our race, and then we're going to have that live race commentary for the actual Cup race at Vegas this weekend. Kind of like we've done the last couple weeks for the Cup races. So I think between all 2 of those streams on Sunday, the predictions video, the post-race analysis video, I have high faith that we can get to 800 by then. The road to 1,000 continues. Yeah, even Virginia's been super strict, but it does seem like they're going to allow at least a limited number of fans for Richmond and Martinsville this year, but they haven't released any numbers as to how many or percentage of how many fans could go for seating capacity and stuff, too. Harvick drove it in a little too deep into turns 1 and 2. Still has not hit the wall in 1 and 2 all day. Obviously, Harvick's got a fast car, but him not making any mistakes either is a big cause of why he's leading this thing. We mentioned before the caution, Bobby Hamilton Jr., when he was in 3rd, looked really fast. He couldn't get around Fedua. Well, he's back to 3rd place again, and again trying to get around Fedua. Stremmy's back to 4th. Faintly, you can see that battle out of the rearview mirror, and Kyle Busch is up there as well, trying to get around Bolt and maybe see if he can make a run to get back on the lead lap, just in case we get another late race yellow or 2. No, yeah, Virginia's not as strict as California and New York. They don't have as big of cities in that state as well, obviously, which is the main factor of it. But I mean, they were the whole reason that there were only 1,000 fans at Martinsville last year. They were the reasons I couldn't go to Martinsville last year for the playoff race. I was bummed. Because that was the race that I really thought I was going to go to. You know, I'd been to 3 races before that this season with COVID, and that one, unfortunately, I couldn't go, even though I had tickets and they had a limited number of fans. So that stunk. So I got my tickets renewed. I will be going this fall. Good news is I had my tickets in place, so I'm definitely going this year no matter. There's no way, you know, there's going to be restrictions in October. I highly doubt it. Not restrictive enough to where I can't go again, at least. So that's good. .29 laps to go here at Darlington in race 1 of the doubleheader. Harvick has a 1.1 now, about a 1.2 second lead over Tim Fedua. Bobby Hamilton Sr. is up there in the top 5, so is David Stremme. Having another great run early in the season. How about that early start to the year that Stremme is having? Pretty good, but if Harvick doesn't make a massive mistake, this is his race to lose as long as we stay green at least. He definitely seems to struggle later in the run when these tires start to wear out. We're not at that point in the run right now, and I don't know if we really will be by the end of this race, but if they get bunched back together for another restart, obviously that creates a passing opportunity as it is, but also you got to give into consideration if it's a very, very late race restart, Harvick might not be that great on older tires at that point as well. And he's definitely going to stay out if there's another caution. So if everybody else pits behind him, he's out of luck. He's dominated. He's led over half the race. I would not be surprised if by the checkered flag flying he leads over 100 laps, and that's despite starting last. Again, just shows how fast Kevin Harvick has been. Though, even though he has been that fast and has led that many laps, he hasn't had more than a 3.5 second lead today. And even like right now, he's got just less than a second and a half ahead of second place with just less than 30 laps to go. And that caution flew at lap 100. We've been green for about 18 laps now. Just not really able to pull away much. It's impressive that it only took him 16 laps to go from last to first at the start of the race, too. Oh, man, excuse me. That snuck up on me. Sorry for that. I'm glad I was in the middle of a straightaway and I didn't crash. That would have been in a turn. That would have been terrible. Pennsylvania's been a little strict, but they're not as strict as some of these other states have been. They were at least allowing some sort of fans for like their some of the football games last season. You know, even a limited number is better than some states because some states weren't even allowing any. Like Michigan. Michigan's been pretty bad with it too, which sucks because I've wanted to go to. I was getting consistent with before COVID started. I was going to Detroit to see a couple games a month, whether it was like Pistons or Red Wings in the winter. And then in the summer, I was going to a couple Tigers games. Like actually in 2019, I went to 11 Tigers games throughout the course of the year. It was like pretty much like twice a month. You know, every 2 to 3 weeks I was going down, watching a game. That was pretty cool. So getting in the swing of that on top of going to the NASCAR races, pretty much the weekends I wasn't going to a race, I was going to Detroit for a game and back. Because I don't live too far out. No, I'm in the state of Ohio. I'm about an hour and 15 minutes south. Detroit, Michigan. That was a lot of fun, but unfortunately, all good things seem like they come to an end prematurely. And that was one of those things I was really bummed out. Last time I've been to Detroit for a game has been over a year now. It would have been Super Bowl Sunday of last season. I went to a Pistons game that was early in the afternoon. It was like a noon start time. The NBA had a couple games that day, and they played the Nuggets. And that was the last time I was at Detroit. So going there like twice a month and then not being there for over a year, it's pretty crazy. I think it's been that long already. Yeah, they should have fans for Pocono this year, I'd imagine. 20 laps to go for Harvick, just less than a 2-second lead. Just trying to keep it off the wall, keep it steady to the finish, and he shouldn't have to worry about lap traffic even if it does stay green to the end, which is a good sign for Harvick. I did watch The Crew on Netflix. I don't actually have a Netflix account. I was using my sister's to watch it. I think I watched all 10 episodes in like a three-day stretch. Not in a row, but like the 3 days I had off of work over the last week and a half, I watched all 10 episodes. Pretty much I'd sit down for like an hour and a half, watch it. Went to bed the one night, watched it an hour and a half 2 days later, and then like 3 days after that I finished up the last like 3 or 4 episodes. But yeah, I mean, outside, and the only reason I checked into it is because I heard about it and it was NASCAR related, so I wanted to check it out. But outside of that, no, I don't really watch Netflix. Outside of sports, I really don't watch TV. Sports, and then I watch a lot of YouTube, whether it's NASCAR stuff or, interesting stuff like documentaries and stuff, sports related, I like to watch on there, so that's pretty much like all my watching. I'm not a big movie person. And Practical Jokers is like the only show I actually watch. And I haven't watched any episode yet this season, so I gotta catch up on that. But that would be like the only, I guess, like show I watch, Netflix or TV related. And if it is a movie, it's usually a comedy movie. I'm not huge into like action or horror films, really. Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream. 15 laps to go this time for Kevin Harvick. 2.1 second lead. Again, he's gradually growing that lead out here at the very end of today's race. After that restart with about 44 laps to go. Get Wreckfest. I've heard good things about it. I don't know. Maybe one of these days you'll see me playing Wreckfest. I don't know for sure. I just got to find the time for it. I want to do a couple more races for that sports car challenge in 05 because it's been about a week and a half. But that was the problem with the career mode. It's like I work full time. Now I'm just starting to get back into golf again too. That takes up about an hour and a half to 2 hours of my day. You know, like I'm just so busy doing things outside of the channel. You know, working 40 plus hours a week and everything. So any free time I get, you know, that I'm not working on the channel, it's not usually a lot. So, except for on the weekends, on a Sunday, I have to make sure I watch the Cup race. But that's another reason why I don't watch every Xfinity and truck race. So I don't have much time to, but I definitely make it an obligation to watch the Cup Series. Yeah, these guys are good on fuel to the end of the race. Just hit half a tank, and we'll be coming to 11 laps to go this time by for Harvick. Just praying that it stays green to the end, really, and Harvick should have this race on lock. Definitely of these 3 wins early in the season, this is going to be the most assuring for Kevin Harvick as long as it stays green to the finish. Now, we did have a late race restart at Las Vegas where the final caution of the race came out with 10 laps left, and we restarted with 6 to go, so by no means is this race over, but if we don't get a caution, it's going to take a huge mistake for Harvick to allow anybody else to cut back into this lead in any sort of significant way. 10 to go this time. We'll alternate through the different camera angles one final time today, at least in this race, and again at Bristol will be the next race of the season, and it will be tonight for our doubleheader of Busch Series action on the channel. Start time will be right around 7:30. Might be a couple minutes late, but I will start it no later than 7:35 Eastern Standard Time. Again, that will be here tonight on the channel. And it will be a different stream, so this stream will end when this race is over. And we take a rundown of the finishing results and the outlook of the point standings, which the way things are going now, assuming Harvick's definitely led the most laps today. If he can go to victory lane with the max points day, he'll go from 3rd to 1st in the standings, with Kyle Busch being trapped a lap down after short pitting and then the caution coming out. Again, that was just so big of its own, trapping some of those faster cars a lap down. Yeah, and definitely tune in for that Bristol race. Again, this is going to be the last doubleheader for the foreseeable future, outside of the modified races on Wednesday nights. Again, I just had more time on my days off this week, Monday and today, but I just started golfing again yesterday. I didn't golf today, otherwise we wouldn't have had this. And the only reason I didn't go is because it was 36 degrees and the wind chill was 27 because it was pretty windy today, so I wasn't going to go, but I'll probably be going. It's supposed to be 40 tomorrow, too, but it looks like Saturday all the way until at least Wednesday. It's supposed to be decent enough that I'll definitely be out there, so. With summer coming right around, I'll be doing that a lot more often. But we will do the daily streams. Just we haven't done a lot of doubleheaders pretty much since the calendar year started. On occasions, and sure enough, this week was kind of that bonus week having 2 of them. One in the truck race on Monday and here today in the Busch Series. Welcome back, R6 right at the finish. Well, Harvick's starting to stretch that lead out just a little bit more. 2.8 seconds. 5 laps to go here today at Darlington. We'll stick with the far chase cam for these final 5 laps. Just hoping it stays green. No cautions come out on the white flag in this game. They will race back to the checker. Not an actual rule in 2004. It's just the way these EA games are. Which honestly, I'm A-okay if that's the rule. Or not a rule necessarily, but if it's like that in the new NASCAR game, I'm all for racing back to the checker, all things necessary. It's a video game. Like, obviously, in real life, there's a reason why they throw the caution if they have to in the last lap. But in a video game, there's no actual danger on the line. Might as well keep it green. Doesn't iRacing keep it green on the last lap, too? For, like, the same reason? Like, they never throw cautions on the last lap? I don't actually have an iRacing account, so I wouldn't know, but I'm assuming that that's the reason. Been mid-50s there. Yeah, I got to 55 yesterday for one day, and then it dropped right back down to 36 today, but it's supposed to, I guess now Monday, it's supposed to be back in the 60s for at least 3 to 4 days. And it's supposed to be decent. It's supposed to be like the mid to upper 40s starting Saturday and Sunday, and then it's supposed to jump up to like the 60s for a few days. So it'll be nice. Definitely taking advantage of it. Nebraska, that's pretty impressive. Blown engine on the inside of the racetrack. Couldn't tell who that was either. Gets down onto pit road. We stay green. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Kevin Harvick. How about this? Just 1 caution all race long today. And it came right at lap 100 in the middle of green flag pit stops. I shouldn't say in the middle of them, but some guys did short pit and were on the back end of that. And those were the drivers that finished a lap down today. Harvick dominated this one. Just over a 3-second lead off turn 4. Checkered flag in the air. 3rd straight win for Kevin Harvick as he wins the opening race of the doubleheader here on a Thursday night. I'm not gonna lie, I'm upset that maybe the inside wall will make a little bit more smoke. Nope, not at all. Well, that's strange. I don't know why it wasn't giving off a lot of smoke, but it toasted the engine still. I guess that was one of the weaker burnouts. Take a look at the finishing results. Kevin Harvick again with the win, leading 128 of the 147 laps today despite starting last. Just an absolutely beast of a race car. Tim Fiedel finishes 2nd. Great run for him. He led 4 laps along the way. David Stremme finishes 3rd. Great run for him as well. Bobby Hamilton Jr. fell back to 4th at the end after running as high as 2nd today, but did not lead a lap. Brown rounds out the top 5. Borland 6th. Kenny Wallace 7th. J.J. Yaley charged from towards the rear of the field. He finishes 8th. Terry Cook finishes 9th. And Callaway rounds out the top 10. Renshaw also led 13 laps at the beginning of the race. I think he started towards the front. And 32 drivers finished on the lead lap. Kyle Busch, first driver, a lap down. Chapman led 2 laps as well today. And we only had 2 DNFs. Buchanan there in the last couple laps of the race. We saw him with the blown engine, and Nixon on lap 2, blown engine. So we'll take a quick look at the point standings. We'll end this stream, and in about 20 minutes, we will get the second race underway. Again, 12 people watching right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. But, oh, sorry, I said 300 laps. I guess it's 250. It's 300 nowadays for the day race at Bristol. I guess it was 250 back in 2004. So the Sharpie Professional 250 at Bristol will be the next race, and it will be coming up tonight. Again, in about 20 minutes. Start time for that one will go for 7:35 Eastern Standard Time will be the start time of that stream. And Kevin Harvick is the new points leader for this NASCAR Busch Series season. I have to go to the standings. Yep, Harvick is the new leader. Bobby Hamilton Jr., who finished 4th in that race, is still 2nd in points, but Harvick went from 3rd to 1st. And the guy who's leading, Kyle Busch, finished a lap down with short pitting. That was a huge disadvantage. He falls to 6th. But again, still early in the season. That's why you see so many drivers within a race worth of points up at the front of the field. And again, Hamilton Jr. is 27 points back in 2nd going into Bristol. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. And, yeah, tune in about 20 minutes for the Sharpie Professional 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. I'll see you then, guys. Thanks for watching.